the Garden of Remembrance. It's associated with the Irish Constitution. It's important that we should remember the values of the Constitution and how they apply to people. The importance of the Liberties project was mainly to keep a connection with people during the worst days of the pandemic, when we all thought we were getting locked down forever. A lot of people have expressed that there was no avenues of hope for them, and people have found it through expression in writing and the creative process, and that's where the Liberties Lockdown group came up from. And we say it's a writing group, but it's not. It's more of a space for people to express what they're feeling. And that was just the importance, because a lot of people felt like they were being left behind. Some of the promises of the politicians of we're all in it together just didn't ring true, you know, and us, ourselves, we got together and formed this. The group has been important. It's given them a space to be expressive, but to be expressive in a way that's meaningful to them, to share some of their deep, dark stuff that they wouldn't have shared before through the form of writing. This has become almost like a cathartic release for them. For me, first, initially, I could speak of my issues. Through metaphors, I could kind of hide behind things and say stuff about my life, but would make a joke or funny or whatever. And it didn't bother me as much when people read it. The more I done it, I stopped using metaphors and started being more expressive of myself. But initially, I couldn't have done that. There's no way. For me, it was almost therapeutic. I can say that honestly, because I used to have an awful problem expressing myself. And that you bottle all them thoughts up. And I found writing down and looking back on it, I could see that that's not such a big issue as I thought it was in my head. It's just a few words, it's not going to kill me, I can get it out and get it over and done with. And that created space for more thinking and for good stuff to come in behind it. Like, through the value of art and the appreciation of creative process that I've learned to express those deep, dark fears that kind of dominated my life, and I couldn't, they kept me down, whereas now I'm able to throw them out and get on with it. Doesn't bother me. And I think that was part of the thinking behind the Liberty Writers Group. That expression, that freedom that people are getting within themselves. And it's testimonial, like if you read the poems that we have in the collection of poems that we have from people, and their ability to express now what their darkest fears, to share out amongst others. And now they're writing, and it's very expressive. And it's stuff they wouldn't have expressed initially. No way. It was very hard for me to speak out on certain stuff. And because they're able to write and it puts it to bed, they're able to kill the power of it in your mind. Because you put it on the page and you look back and go, oh, it's not as big, it's just a few words or whatever. And you process that, you know, and you become comfortable with it. And you feel brave in expressing more and more, and then you get in contact with your feelings, and next minute your writing has expression, real expression. The whole idea is about encouraging people and to see the better of people, you know, to encourage them and to say, like, Jesus, you have something there, that's a great tone of expression you have, or that's a great way of putting something on paper that can encourage and help others. And they start seeing that and start believing in themselves, and next when they start writing about it, and you see it the way that writing changes. There's a transformation in it, you know. In the darkness of despair we saw a vision. We lit the light of hope and it was not extinguished. In the desert of discouragement we saw a vision. We planted the tree of valor and it blossomed. We sent our vision a swim like a swan on the river. The vision became a reality. Winter became summer, bondage became freedom. And this we left to you as your inheritance. O generations of freedom, remember us, the generations of the vision. For me, it's to be here and to remember the values of the Constitution and the people that it's supposed to serve. It's the promise of what this is all about, to remember the people that are left behind. We have a super rich society now in Ireland, and the haves and the have-nots are getting further and further apart. And I think it's beholden the people to like close that gap, you know, make it a fairer, more equal society. I'm quite proud of it, to be honest, because I've seen how people have benefited from it, and I've seen how people have actually grown just by reading their writing, the poems and the stuff they're sharing, and you can see the transformation even within their writing, that you know there's something happening within the mind. You have to have a degree of freedom within the mind to be able to express what's really going on, and to be able to express it and live with it, because it's not always easy to tell your story, you know. It's a really, really, really good project. It's taken off. It's brought the people along who it's meant to bring along. I think you could turn around honestly and say they owned it. And that's the most important thing, you know, to hear their voice.